Good evening. Welcome to all respected professors, honorable guests and my fellow classmates. I am गोल्डी कुमारी और मैं इस प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत चंद पंक्तियों से करना चाहूंगी। सपने ही तो कल का विश्वास हैं, सपने ही तो कल का विश्वास हैं, सपने ही तो जीने का सहारा है और उन सपनों से ही तो उम्मीद आत्मा हमारा है। गाइज, हम सबका कोई ना कोई सपना होता है, कोई लक्ष्य, कोई ड्रीम, कोई गोल जिसे हम पाना चाहते हैं। लेकिन उनमें से कुछ मौके सिर्फ इसलिए छूट जाते हैं क्योंकि हमें उसकी कोई जानकारी नहीं होती या हमें कोई गाइड करने वाला नहीं होता। तो आज के इस प्रोग्राम में हम एक ऐसे ही करियर ऑप्शन के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं जो हमारे करियर को एक सही दिशा दे। और इसी के साथ मैं आप सभी को इंट्रोड्यूस कराना चाहूंगी हमारी आज की गाइडिंग लाइट मिस सुप्रभा भट्टाचार्य, who is a student of BSc Physics Honors, third year at BHU. She has been recently selected for the Summer Research Fellowship Program 2021. She will be doing her work on filament oscillation during solar maxima and minima at Aryabhat Research Institute of Observational Science, Naini. I'm thankful to Prabha ma'am to accept our request and also thankful to Nila ma'am to organize this event. I assure you that this webinar will be very helpful for everyone. Let's begin the program by paying homage to the great Indian educator, honorable founder of BHU and Bharat Ratna awardee, Mahamana Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. Without taking your too much time, I just now invite Shuprabha ma'am to talk all of you regarding her topic and also discuss regarding her journey and experience.
Thank you, Goldie, for the introduction. So first, I'd like to wish a happy Teachers' Day to Neelam ma'am. And let's begin with the presentation without further ado.
Subra, your video is not on, beta.
I have turned it on.
Subra?
Yeah, I have turned it on. Let
Okay.
me just do it again, maybe.
Okay. Maybe कि हमारा मेरा नेटवर्क खराब हो. ठीक है, it's all right.
Okay. I'm sharing my screen now. Just a minute. Okay, so I am Suprabha Bhattacharya. I have been selected recently for this Summer Research Fellowship program, and today I am going to tell you about my experience with this, and also I'll tell you a little bit about what project I am doing through this. Now, the first thing is what internship means. Now, internships are a real world experience for students which give them an opportunity to work under professionals who are well established in these career paths, and they will also provide you with a prior experience so that you can be prepared for all the challenges that you are going to face when you finally delve into your career world. All right, next coming to the program. The name of this program is Summer Research Fellowship Program, and it is supposed to be a 2 months program. Actually, it is an 8 weeks program, which is almost 2 months program. And this is jointly organized by the three academies, which are the National Academy of Sciences, Prayagraj, Indian National Science Academy, New Delhi, and Indian Academy of Sciences, Bangalore. Now, this fellowship program will give you an opportunity to work with scientists who are members of these three academies, You will also be given a stipend by the academies for your boarding and lodging at the institution in which you will be working. The travel expenses to the city in which the institution is situated are also covered by the academy. And the academy provides the fellowship program in any field that are related to any of these subjects, which are chemistry, earth and planetary sciences, engineering, life sciences, mathematics, and physics. If you are a second year student of Bachelor of Science course or a first year student of Masters of Science course, you can apply to this program. Now, the applications are available from the month of October, and you can find the applications on the websites of the three academies that organize this program. You are supposed to submit a write-up about whatever research project you are planning to carry out. Now, this write-up is the most important part of this application, I would say, as this is responsible for your selection. Next, you need to provide an email ID of one of your teachers or the head of the department. The academies contact these contact these teachers or whoever you are mentioning in your application, and they'll ask for a recommendation letter. Next, I would like to discuss about what I wrote in my proposal. So I am interested in astrophysics. That is why I decided I'll choose a topic related to that field. So my topic was observation of solar flares. Now I got to know about this topic from a YouTube channel. It's called Kurzgesagt in a nutshell. Now I watched a video on their YouTube channel and found a few more websites like this one by NASA. Now this website has very easy to read articles. You all can also go there and read them. It's very comprehensible articles, I would say. And also while preparing my content for my proposal, I used some European space agencies, visited those websites, read their articles, and then visited some astronomy blogs. And that's how I prepared it. I'll come and describe it in detail now. So before that, here's a small video of a solar flare. You can see there is a loop-like structure emerging from the outer surface of the sun and then protruding out and going into space. And here, if you can see the light yellow portion of the sun, here you will observe thin thread-like structures. These are called filaments. And my project is about these filaments. So now coming to the important part, which is how to prepare the write-up. First, you are supposed to select a topic. Now to do this, either you must be knowing something that you want, should be knowing a topic that you want to work on. If not, then the easiest way to do it is check the research interests of the scientists who are part of this academy and who will be taking part in this fellowship program. The list is available on the site. When you will fill the application form, you'll find the list of these scientists and you can search through your interest area, the scientists who are working in interest area. And once you have selected and narrowed down on a topic that you want to pursue, start studying about it. You don't need to refer research papers for this. It's not important. You can read articles, anything that is easy to comprehend at your level. And then you can, while writing your proposal, you should first describe what you have learned and any concept that you learned related to this. For example, when I was doing my proposal, the thing that I did was search the names of the scientists who were related to this astrophysics field and were taking part in this program. And then I found out that most of them were working on space weather. Now, solar flares are a huge part of space weather, and it's really in the now. Many people keep researching on it, so I decided I'll go for solar flare. Then I referred to those YouTube channels that I mentioned. Then I went for some other websites, and I collected information about my proposal. The next thing is decide why research in your field is required. Well, when you are choosing a topic, you need to know what to do in that topic. So this is where this is the part where you will be describing it. Now you can write down any event for which study in your field is required, or any problem that happened due to that event. For example, when I mentioned when I was writing about solar flares, I mentioned that solar flares are responsible for aurora borealis. We'll come to that, describing aurora borealis later. And also, if there is ever a strong solar storm, then all these electronic equipments that you are using can be damaged completely. And a very recent event that happened regarding that was in Quebec, Canada. So they had to face several hours of power outage. And there's also an example which is available on the internet. It talks about a solar storm that happened in the 1800s, where, and at that time, the telegram machine were the most important technological advancement in the world. And those telegram machines electrocuted many people who were using those. So that was one effect of solar storms. But now if something like that is to happen, you can't even imagine how a big catastrophe it is going to be. Next, you are supposed to describe what project you are going to carry out. For example, you can mention any specific experiment if you want to do that, or a theory that you want to learn. Like I mentioned that I wanted to observe, I wanted to know how they observe solar flares, but of course, my project is a bit more complicated than just observing solar flares. So to summarize, first thing is select your topic and read some concepts about it. Then decide what to, why research in your field is required, and then describe anything that you want to learn, any specific thing that you want to learn. Now, once you are selected, you are going to be um, emailed an offer letter. Also, they'll be posting you. They'll send you an offer letter by post. You are supposed to accept the offer letter from both the channels, so through online mode, as well as you need to post the offer letter. And the duration of this project is about 8 weeks, which is nearly 2 months. This year, due to the pandemic, what they did was that they allowed students to do it offline or online. So you get an option this year. I am doing my project online. I do not need to visit the institution and work. I can correspond with them online, completely online. Now you are supposed to submit 2 reports during your project duration. The first one is a 4 weeks report, and the final one will be at the end of your 8 weeks, which is a report of what you have done for these 8 weeks. It will be more of like a research paper. Now coming to some other internships that I've come to know about. The first one is by JNCSR Summer Research Fellowship Program. This program is anyone studying in the second year or the third year can apply to this program. And then there are some offered by ICERS. Now you have to check in the websites of all these individual ICERS for their summer research program, because all of them have different rules. For some, second year students can apply, and for some, both second and third year students can apply. So you'll have to check it on their websites. Are there any questions so far? Does anybody have any questions so far? All right, no. So next we'll be going on to some topics that I have learned through this program. The first one is solar flare. Now, solar flares are explosions of energy from the sun's chromosphere or the outer surface. They are due to the variation and magnetic field of the sun. Now, in this video, if you see if you can see these thin strands that are coming out, these are solar flares, and these eject very high speed particles from the sun towards any planet in space, and these are what constitute space weather. There are other components, but these are the major components. The next thing is coronal mass ejection. Now, the outer surface, the one beyond this bright sphere of sun, is called corona, not the virus, but the surface is called corona. And some magnetic loops are formed in this corona. What they do is that they collect this coronal mass and then hurl it into space. So the magnetized particles from the corona get entangled, you can say, are entangled in this loop, or there's a loop formed around it, and then it is hurled into space, and that constitutes your coronal mass ejection. Now, auroras are mainly formed due to the CMEs. Now, next, coming to aurora borealis. So what happens in aurora borealis is that once the CME is ejected from sun, it travels along space towards the earth, and then it reshapes the magnetic field around the earth. What happens is that the side of the earth, the night side of the earth, as you can call it, which is the side that is away from the sun, the magnetic field on this side gets elongated, and there is a magnetic tail like structure created behind earth. So this tail like structure is pulled to a great distance by CMEs, and then after an extent, what happens is that these just a minute. Yeah. What happens is that some of the magnetic material, it gets pushed back, and then these magnetic particles, they travel along the magnetic field lines and reach the two poles, and what you find is aurora borealis, because these charged particles, they react with the various atoms here, especially oxygen and nitrogen, and give out these colors. So you can imagine it like, in archery you use an arrow and then pull the string of the bow to an extent and then leave it. So it's something like that. The magnetic shield is pulled like the string of the bow, and the charged particles are then released like an arrow, and it goes and hits these poles where the charged particles are going to react with oxygen and nitrogen atoms and produce various colors. Now, next is how to observe these solar flares. You can't obviously look directly towards the sun and see that there is some flare coming out. So what people do, I mean scientists do, they use a coronagraph, the dark red part here, which has a white colored circle in it. This coronagraph blocks the bright light that is coming out from the center of the sun, so that the edge of the sun could be, or the perimeter of the sun could be observed, because most of your solar flare is happening on the edge. You don't need light from the center to obstruct that view, so they use a coronagraph. Now, light from sun is filtered using a red H alpha filter, so that it can be viewed clearly, because there are various kinds of light coming from the sun. There are X-rays and various other, gamma rays, all these things. So you only need a very specific wavelength of light for observation, and that can be viewed using red H alpha filter. The next thing is prominence. Now the first picture here, it shows a part of the sun and a loop outside it. Now this is called a prominence, this loop. What happens is that a part of the loop, which is a cloud of plasma, it just extends out from the sun and into the corona of the sun, which is the outer surface, as I mentioned before. Now these loops can either stay connected like this, and over time they will just collapse, or they might be supercharged by more loops coming here, and they might get detached from the sun's surface and go out like coronal mass ejections. And the next thing is filaments. The difference between prominence and filaments is that prominence can be observed on the surface of the sun, where uh, as this filament thing, it's going to be observed on the bright surface, not on the edge. Otherwise, they are the same thing. They are loops of dense plasma here, and they all they are both rising out of the sun. It only depends what you call it because of what angle you are viewing it from. Now these lines are dark. As you can see, filament lines are dark here because they are a little colder when compared to the actual temperature of the sun. The next thing is solar cycle. So our sun goes through a cycle of 11 years, after which the sun's magnetic poles get flipped. What happens is that the north pole and the south pole of the sun, they'll get completely flipped after every 11 years. And throughout this cycle, there is a variation in the number of sunspots. So during the solar minimum, which marks the start of the solar cycle, you'll see the least number of solar sunspots on sun, while in between two solar minimum, you'll have a time when there are the maximum number of solar sunspots. So where you'll have the maximum solar activity and the maximum number of sunspots on sun. Now the current solar cycle that is going on is solar cycle number 25. It began somewhere in December 2019, and research about this is going on. Now there was a time in history when no sunspots were observed on sun. That is a matter of research these days. And about my research that I am going to do, so I have to do research on filaments that I mentioned in my last slide. I have to observe filaments on these kind of images. They are a bit the images that I am going to use are a bit more clearer, and then I'll have to study the number of filaments that are present during each phase of the sun, and my study is all about that. Okay. So that brings us to the end of today's presentation. Thank you for being such patient listeners. Now, if you have any questions, you may ask. All right, I can see something on the chat box.
Didi, what results in solar storms?
Solar storms. Okay. So as I mentioned about solar flares, what happens is that these particles, these are charged particles. The plasma that is getting ejected from the sun, these are charged particles. And now when they come out of the sun or they are ejected by the sun, they travel at a very high speed towards the earth. That is what constitutes the solar storms. Anything else? Wait, was I clear about the solar storm thing? Did you understand it?
In the meantime, Suprabha, I want to ask one question. I know that you are just going to start your research, so you are in a very early phase. But if in a very broad way, you can explain that what will be your approach to see all these things? Like what kind of work you are going to do? In a very broad way. I understand that you are just going to start it. You may not be able to describe in a very detail, just in a rough manner that how you are going to, what will be the approach, whether it is a computer analysis or something, what kind of approach you are going to adopt.
Okay. So as I mentioned that my project is going to be totally online. So my project will the first step of my project is to download data from various websites. Now there are certain websites that have these images of sun available, and there I think there are 7 observatories, if I am not wrong, which record the sun's images for 24/7, and those data are available online. So I'm supposed to download those data, then process those images, and Then I am supposed to analyze how many filaments are there and then work according to the number of filaments available there.
Okay, beta. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else wants to ask any question? If no, then we should really congratulate Suprabha for getting this fellowship. It's not a very easy fellowship. Getting a Science Academy's fellowship needs a real dedication and hard work. So, Suprabha, many congratulations to you, beta.
Thank
And
you,
we
ma'am.
wish you all success in life. That we want to see you a very big scientist, and we want to listen you again and again after 10 years or 10, 15 years as a great scientist. With this hope and these blessings, let us, we are again on the behalf of all the students, everybody, I am thankful to you but that you have accepted and given your time today. Thank you very much, Bache.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, madam.